Hello, foodie fans. Welcome to the Big Food Talk, produced by Tough Monkey Entertainment. I'm your host, Sal Conca. This show supports restaurants, chefs, and food pioneers with your help. Head to bigfoodtalk.com to make your donation today, or check out our fun apparel line with proceeds going directly to participating restaurants. Special thanks to the Long Island Food Council, Dine LI Facebook group, and Yelp Long Island for supporting this episode. Today I'm speaking with Chef Matty, three-time barbecue champion and pitmaster at Green Hill Kitchen in Greenport, New York. In addition to offering takeout, they're even providing provisions with everything from olive oil to toilet paper. Listen in to find out how Matty fell in love with cooking at the age of 8 and how Green Hill Kitchen is supporting their unemployed workers. Let's hear Matty's story. Hey, Matty, welcome to the Big Food Talk. Excited to speak with you today, all the ways from Green Hill. Where are you guys located?
Greenport, New York.
Awesome. And how are you guys doing through all this today?
We're evolving. I think this is a survivor's world, especially in the food service and hospitality field. So we're adapting and trying to grow. It's what we've done the whole way through, and we're going to keep to that model.
Yeah, I mean, in my conversations with everybody else, I feel like chefs are true problem solvers, which is a great skill to have.
You got to think on your feet in the kitchen. No day in a restaurant is ever the same. That would be the day that scares you the most, is the day that there was no issues. So we're used to dealing with problem solving. We're used to dealing with being thrown a curveball. And this is obviously pretty dramatic. Either one of those two scenarios. We're lucky that we have a really good crew around us. We obviously lost a lot of them as soon as this hit, but the core group that we have here, we're sticking together well, and I feel like that's why we've survived. Is we were able to lean on everyone's strengths and everyone's being positive, and that environment helped us a lot.
Yeah, it's great to see, everybody coming together to really support each other during this time. Just, I've said it before, but, the humility that's come out of the situation is what really is impressing me in terms of how companies are operating, restaurants are operating, and the community coming together to support you guys. I'm curious to learn more about your culinary background, though. Like, how old were you when you knew you had a real passion for food?
I was 8. I had
8 years
no.
old.
Hey, sir. How are you? I'm good. I'm middle of an interview, sir. So just give me a minute. The boss man.
Hi, boss.
So at 8 years old, my father owned a sausage cart outside of Fenway Park, right on Lansdowne Street. If you've ever gone to Fenway, you come over the bridge. There's a big bar called Cask and Flagon on the corner. Right in front of that, my dad had a sausage cart with a couple of his buddies. So I was too young. I couldn't even see over the top of the flat top grill. So I started being a barker. Hot dogs, sausages here. Who's hungry out here? Scared half my staff. And as a kid growing up, that was great. So I get to spend time with my dad. My father and mother were separated, and I could really get into something that was fun. You're yelling at a baseball game. We're outside of the street, so it's kind of a fun way to see it. You sneak into the games in the middle innings, run back out, and that kind of just set the tone of the hospitality business and how I like to interact. My mother, at the same time, was the director of entertainment for the House of Blues. So the first House of Blues was in Cambridge, Mass, where I'm from. And I would go there, and Alan Riddle was the chef there, and he took me under his wing. And Joe Marcus was the chef there. Alan was later on. But they took me under, just let me be that kid running around. And, I was backstage at concerts working with the caterer. I didn't want to go watch the show. I wanted to do the food. And that was all I was 11, 12 years old before I worked in a restaurant. So that's just, I've done one thing. This is it. It's the only business I know, and the only one I care to.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a great background to have, obviously, and those are great stories to share, and now that you're on Long Island, I'm sure you've had a, interesting trajectory. I know you've worked with some James Beard award-winning chefs. Did you have any actual formal culinary background, formal training, like culinary school, or was it all just grassroots working in restaurants?
I was enrolled in culinary school. Sam and Carl Skiar were two chefs that I worked for. They actually were graduates of the CIA. of in Hyde Park. They were the youngest two chefs that ever graduated. They were like 15 and 16. So when I was working for them as a line cook, and I told them I was excited to go to their Almada, they were kind of like, well, why don't you get the book and cook it with us the whole year through? So you will have cooked every single meal in that book. You still think you got to go to culinary school? And these were graduates, so they said it's a great school, but they kind of saw like there's two different breeds of chef. Some need that formal training. Some are more just they've got to get their hands in. Chefs are very much work with their hands. So I was the latter, and I just stuck, and I never actually fully enrolled. I was by the time I was done there, I was about 18 years old, and I really had been working in restaurants for solidly for 5 years. I was done with school, and I just decided I had the education level I wanted, and I just went full forward with cooking, and that was Memphis, Tennessee, and I ended up a million other places.
I'm sure. I know. I've seen some of the places you've worked. I know, even on Long Island here, you've worked in a number of different establishments. And so, when did you actually make your way into Green Hill? When did you arrive there?
October 15th, 2019. I joined the team here, and I brought a support crew with me. It was the first restaurant here that was Green Hill Kitchen and Q. Was originally Green Hill Kitchen. We added the Q because one of the things we were all passionate about, the owners and myself, was barbecue. I compete in a lot of barbecue competitions. I win a lot of those competitions, and that was one of the things we really wanted was to have that feeling. Christoph has had a business down in Texas for a while, and he became a big fan of brisket. So that's one of the things we wanted to nail, and that's pretty much our number one signature dish, smoked brisket. So we got a smoker out back. We get really good quality wood from upstate New York. We kind of set forth to make the kitchen and Q part of it, and we never closed. So we were 3 days a week running around, kind of doing aesthetics of the joint, to make it a little bit more comforting, like more like how a barbecue restaurant you go in, you feel that warmth, and it's like you've been there before. And then we ran with the menu kind of the way it was, and then slowly picked up the things that we wanted to do with it. So it was
Mhm.
like a transformation in opening. So we didn't ever stop what we were doing. We just evolved.
Yep, and it's a great way to kind of transition your existing customers and getting new customers, right? Transitioning into a new menu and figuring all that out as you go. I love that brisket is your signature item. I'm a big brisket fan. Um, how does being on the North Fork influence the menu and the things that you cook?
Cool there. I live on the South Fork, so that is a different clientele there. The North Fork, I think, is a bit more undiscovered. It has a feel of ruralness here, real country farms, fishermen. Just the whole feeling here is completely different than there. So you need to have, I would say, 101. Prices are lower here than they would be in Sag Harbor, the opposite uh, harbor. Like I live in Sag Harbor, and it's divided by shelter islands right in the middle. So Greenport is the other whaling town, and the clientele here they don't have that city impact as much. There's definitely city folk here, but it's sticking to its roots. So you have to kind of be evolving with how they're evolving. You can't just throw something out there and be completely different what they've never seen. They might take to it, they might not. Um, Sorry about that. The the clientele have been very. I mean, I started in October, which is an unusual time. It's when the season really is. You're after the vineyards have mostly done their harvesting. You're after the all the ideas that we have of when people would open. So we get it in a time that usually it's transitioned from a quiet time that we just held steady. We didn't change because we wanted to become something ready for the summertime.
I'm curious to hear how you guys have pivoted during COVID and what's new right now and how you're operating your restaurants. And before the call, you were even telling me about you guys have more of a collective there of a restaurant group. So walk us through some of what that all looks like now.
So Green Hill Kitchen and Q is one of three restaurants belonging to Green Hill Management. Uh, we have Anchor, which is directly across the street from me here. We're at 48 Front Street here. Anchor is 47. A restaurant known as formerly known as Industry Standard was at 45 Front Street. That is now going to be Whalers Tavern was our original idea for it, and now it looks like that's going to become a market with this current situation. But what we did is we didn't stop. I mean, on the 13th of March, we lost 50% of our dining. That's what the governor set forth. And by I think the 16th or the 15th, excuse me, we lost everything. So that's our revenue stream. Yeah, you can do takeout only and delivery, which we've stuck through too. But the revenue stream wasn't going to be big enough, and we knew that. We'd already had to come to grips with: do we close? Do we not close? What's our operational model? And my fiance and her friend Nicole, who was at the time about 6 months pregnant and was already in a complicated pregnancy that she was told to be bedridden, she just said, "Well, could I pay you to bring me everything?" What do you mean? She's like, "Everything. Just, no, this. You still have the access to it." She didn't want her husband going out buying these things because he was putting himself in harm's way, and of course her. So she shared this idea with us, and we filled up a truck, a van that we have here, with a bunch of stuff in coolers and dry goods, and we drove to several addresses prearranged, and we started selling goods like a provisions company. Uh, we now have a website that is just for the provisions. So you can go onto that website and you can order uh, extra virgin olive oil, smoked brisket, a head of cauliflower, organic milk, nitro gloves, Clorox wipes, toilet paper. You ever thought I'd sell toilet paper? It's not something I thought I would do, but it's what we're doing now. But it's grown. We have over 600 plus members of the website. We've delivered almost 300 addresses. We deliver from. We've never said no yet. We've delivered as far as uh, Wading River, West Hampton, Center Morriches. We haven't gone to Montauk yet, but we've gone to that Peak stretch, so pretty far out. And it's worked. I mean, we're not, by no means is the grocery business something that makes tons of money, but that mixed with some events that we do for holidays and our steady flow of business has been enough to keep us alive and afloat and positive.
That's incredible. That's one of the most creative ideas I've heard yet in terms of how a restaurant has pivoted during this time. And given that you have all the additional retail space, I'm sure it makes things a little bit easier to kind of have the space and ideas to be able to do that stuff. So, continue to operate your barbecue menu, setting up provisions and catering service. I think you're also, how are people donating? What are you doing with sales from certain things to contribute to your unemployed workers right now?
So we do two things for donations. One of the coworkers that we had to unfortunately uh, furlough or lay off. We started a GoFundMe. So GoFundMe Green Hill Kitchen is a way that we donate. People buy gift certificates at this time. Half that purchase goes to that GoFundMe. Uh, we've had some private people just donate money to it, and that's for the employees that are obviously out of work right now, and individually they can ask us like, "Hey, look, I need help with this." We're there for them in whatever way. It's we don't really have it set for one given thing. It's kind of like an OP fund. So we have that set up for them in addition that we're feeding our ex-employees. We also, though, do a lot of donations to local healthcare workers here. We have a spot fund, which we just kept different to not confuse people. And that spot fund, the way it operates is it costs us about $10 to feed a healthcare worker. We have two really good partners in this relationship, and that is we have New York Prime Beef. They're our major meat company, and they donate us weekly allotments of chicken, beef, pork, or whatever we can barbecue. And then Peter's Fruit Company is a local produce and fruit company that gives us other items to obviously from the fruit produce world. And we take our resources as the building here and put our skill set. We deliver to today. We're going to Peconic Bay Medical Center with 100 meals. 2 days ago, we went to the Stony Brook East End, Greenport, and every single Monday we're at Stony Brook, Southampton. I think as of next week, we figured out we will have fed about 2,100 healthcare workers.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. That's incredible. Thank you, Chef. That's amazing work and an amazing number of people that you've touched and the lives that you've touched. I mean, obviously, what I find interesting about the North Fork is how tight knit of a community is up there, and how people do really come together because it is everybody knows the restaurants. It's not competitive. It's collaborative in many ways. And what other than the brisket we talked about, what other items are hot on the menu? What are people buying? What do you like to cook? What should people be looking for when they come into Green Hill?
Well, I love all food. I mean, I for me, it's fun to cook everything. We have a really cool smoked salmon. So it's not your traditional sliced cured. We do like a quick salt sugar rub on it for about 2 hours, which starts the curing process. We wash that in a little bit of ice water, throw it in our smoker, and that goes in like a hot smoked salmon. So that comes out still like a big fillet, so it's not doesn't have that completely removed all the water out of it. And then we finish that by searing that in the pan. So it's like a kiss of smoke on salmon. And salmon has that nice oil structure to it that it's a really cool way to have barbecue. We're not red sauce on everything. We actually only apply barbecue sauce to one item here. We have different rubs that we use. We have a there's a famous dish from Spain. I go there every year. My soon to be other half of my family is all Spanish. My fiance is, and
Awesome.
gambos a la hija. I'm saying it terribly. She'll correct me on that. But basically, prawns with garlic. Turn that off. Off, yes, please. Uh, and then what you do is you have garlic, olive oil, a little bit of chili, shrimp. We have done that in a dry rub format. So we take garlic, chili, a little bit of smoked paprika, and we cure those shrimp and we throw them in the smoker. And then to order, we pick them up with confit garlic on the grill. So it's like a worldly kind of. I've actually never been the chef of a barbecue restaurant ever before. I compete on a team called Salty Rinse in Memphis in May, which is the World Championship of Barbecue.
Yep.
I've always been European trained. I lived in Europe for 5 years. Lived in London, a little bit of time in Amsterdam. I've traveled all over, but that was my formal training. It was, classic, call it New American, if you will.
Yep.
Uh, and that's kind of like the different things that I can take from my experience and mix them with the kind of the classic ways of barbecue. Like we do Texas style brisket, but we do Carolina style pulled. We
Hmm.
also do beer can chicken. So our menu here it's fun. That's what we like. We like people to say that, oh, I'm not really a big barbecue fan, especially like vegans. Well, we do a smoked jackfruit, which is we looked at it and it was kind of like I don't know if you've ever seen the inside core of a jackfruit. It's kind of like fibrous.
Yep.
So we decided we would take that and smoke it and treat it like pork because it looked like pork, a little caveman style, but it's like pork. So we have a total vegan smoked sandwich.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did see that on your menu, and it's great that you have those offerings. It sounds like the way the concept behind it, you've really created a barbecue menu, but for foodies and people that really just want to enjoy food and flavor and big, bold flavors, obviously. Um, this has been really awesome, Chef. I really appreciate you taking the time and talking to me about your craft and what's going on with you today. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience that they should know before we head out?
Um, well, we constantly are evolving. I was telling you before about the ghost kitchen opening at Anchor for Memorial Day, which of course would have been a huge holiday out here. It doesn't look like we will have restaurants as of yet, but we're going to open the restaurant. Our chef's going to have full menu ready to go. You're going to be able to order it, pick up, even with wine, with a small wine menu to match it. We're going to open still. Might be in this new way, but we're preparing ourselves to eventually come back. It's going to be a different world when we come back, but like, as I said before, we're a survivalist mentality. It's very important to us that restaurants are hospitality. That's how people get to go out, share a drink, or share a meal, or share an experience. And we're music oriented here too. We have a whole music hall that we don't even know when that will open up again. But we're trying to make it to, like, for example, you had that experience when you came here. You have great music, you have great food, great drink. Like this Saturday, we're doing a virtual tacos and tunes, and we're delivering taco platters to people. We have some of our house musicians that are going to perform on Instagram live, Green Hill NY, and they're going to be able to watch a show, eat a meal, and we're going to be able to have that broadcast on our Instagram. So it's something we're trying to keep people with something. Still, hospitality matters. People want that.
Absolutely. And I've seen all the creativity coming from you guys. I love the live virtual events. I love the to-go meals, the provisions you guys are creating. I hope everybody will go follow at Green Hill NY on Instagram. Check out their website. Be sure to order. Go see Chef Matty and order up some great barbecue. Chef, thanks so much for chatting with me today.
Thanks for your time, man. Be healthy.
You got to take care.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to The Big Food Talk, produced by Tough Monkey Entertainment. Subscribe on iTunes and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes takes, or watch complete episodes on YouTube. Don't forget to make a donation at bigfoodtalk.com.